Hi. Hello, Cindy and Donna and Carol. It's yoga time, Sharon. Hi, ladies. Thanks for being here. Ready to practice yoga? I am, definitely. All right. I've been sore lately. And I was trying to figure that out. I'm wondering, are my classes harder this week? I think they have been. I definitely think Tuesday was. And then even yesterday. So I teach 5 classes a week, and then throughout the day, I do different things to load up my hips. I'm always in my body and my joints when I move. So I think that I've been extra bending. I've been bending a lot lately, intentionally. So today I definitely wanted to focus, of course, keeping the theme of strength going on this week. I am going to go back there. So hopefully, if you have anything to say, hi, Stevie. All the strong ladies are here today. All those who want strong bones forever are here today. All right. I feel like I'm lopsided on that image. Looks super lopsided to me, but I don't know why. There. Okay, great. Yeah, I know you do, Donna. And you know what? Knowing who's here is helpful because I would say that all of you that have chatted so far are definitely in the stronger level. So if I were going to, when I teach, I have to view who is with me in the class because I want to keep them safe. I mean, for me, safety is paramount. We want to do strong, safe bone building stimulation, right? That is the goal. And so it really matters where you're at. And the ego comes with us to class when we practice. The ego comes. So we're not always our best guide ourselves. And we try to muscle through things or just, do it. And that's what I've noticed for years, in my own practice and then in those that I've worked with. So not necessarily slow, strong, safe stimulation for bones. That is the goal. We don't want to hurt ourselves. We are pulling and pushing on bones. We are pulling ligaments, which are what holds bone to bone. And those are structural elements. We don't want to stretch them too much. We want to stress them out appropriately. So when we practice, making sure that the level that you stay at is the appropriate level for you, that is super important. So with that said, today's practice is going to focus on strength. Of course, strength that's appropriate for you. I want you to really get that. I'd like to share today, maybe in either one posture or 3 postures at a time, ways that you could throughout your day find strong bone building stimulation. We don't all have time to do 1 hour practice, 20-minute, 30-minute practice. So I'd like to share with you, what can you do every day that's going to keep your bones strong? And so I'll use some of the postures that are available for us in yoga. And I'd also like to share a raised awareness piece that I share over and over. And hopefully you're not too tired of hearing it, but honestly, it is a raised awareness piece that we really need to bring into our lives on a daily basis. Really pound this into our mind, so to speak, fortify that pathway of awareness of our spine so that as we start doing stronger moves or every day when we do something strong to create strong bones, that we are safe in that process. And that you don't do too much damage or hurt yourself, because then that will either set you back before you can go back to doing something strong, or maybe even make you feel scared to not do something. And so that is a really important thing that I'd like to share, is that piece that you need to come with awareness. If you're going to do this, you've got to be in it. You've got your mind and your body in it. Don't just throw your bag of bones around. Don't just try to do something and muscle through it. Be in it. Use your breath. Use your awareness. Today, can you go this deep? Today, can you stay this long? Maybe, but maybe not. Be okay with whatever it is. All right. And that's how you can do really strong work. So since I know that you girls that have chatted with me are pretty strong, then we're definitely going to be challenging ourselves appropriately. For today's practice, I have my egg block. I know you don't all have this. This is going to go behind my heart in this part of my body. This is where this is going to go. If you don't have one of these, for those that do, go grab yours. For those that do not have one of these, you could purchase one online. The 3-minute egg, it's called. I love it, one of my favorites. But this for you could be a block. You could put a block behind your back. You could fold your blanket and let your blanket go behind this part of your chest. Or you could roll up a blanket or roll up a towel, something so that this part of your body is manipulated so that we can get this. Maybe this shirt's not the best for that, but to get a rainbow. You want a rainbow in your spine. We want to facilitate that. We're going to bring this into our body to begin the practice so that your body could feel it, notice it, so that your mind could notice it. And then we're going to use that throughout the entire practice as we use strong postures to create strong bone building stimulation. So go ahead and get blocks if you have them. We're going to need a blanket for today's practice that can go off to the side. Unless you're using it as your prop, you could put it underneath your chest. Or if you have one block, you could put a block behind your heart and fold the blanket to go behind your head. So if you had these two, you could do this. And then your shoulder blades would go here, your heart would be here, your head would be there. So go ahead and get whatever it is you need. I'll show you what I'm going to do with this. I'm going to take my egg block here, and I'm going to take my other block here. Manipulating this part of our spine, lengthening, lifting, and bringing in that memory for your body so that you find that in your daily life. The block is here. You're going to bring yourself onto your side. And then when we come down, we want to come to the side, and we want to come onto our prop appropriately. So bring it where, if you could see where it is for me, it does not go all the way up to my body, up to the top part of my spine. It's right behind my heart. And then you're going to place yourself into a supported back bend. This is called an extension, spinal extension. Keep your eyes open as you explore where you should go. Keep your knees bent as you explore where you should go. And then start to bring in the parts of you that will really be affected by this, which are the shoulders, chest, spine. So come into the deepest expression that's appropriate for you, adjusting your props to support your body in the way that it needs to be supported. And then take your time to arrive there. And then once you arrive, close your eyes. When the eyes are closed, you'll have more body awareness. And then try to relax in a pretty strong supported back bend. So hopefully feeling appropriate stretch, maybe in a deeper place than you usually do. Let your mouth relax. Back teeth are separated. If you'd like to explore straightening your legs, try that. When we manipulate the middle spine like this, it has an effect above and below to the the cervical spine and the lumbar when we are manipulating the thoracic, because it's all connected, all works together. So be aware of what you're feeling when you straighten your legs, if you do. And then with the arms, reaching out as wide as you can to the place where you feel the appropriate stretch in your chest and shoulder and armpit. Begin to use the breath to warm up your torso. So start to pay attention to the breath, breathing to your torso, expanding your ribs as much as you can with your breath. Feel your chest rise and fall. Feel the sides expand. And then begin to breathe back towards your prop, whatever's behind your body. And then bring your awareness to your belly, to the lower ribs. Take 5 deep breaths to your belly. Try to stay with the breath for 5 breaths without getting distracted. Keep coming back to counting. Follow the breath all the way in. Follow the breath all the way out. Now bring your awareness to your feet, whether your legs are straight or your knees are bent. Push your feet into the ground strongly so you feel the tension and the pressure leaving the pelvis, leaving the sacral area as you let your legs take more of that pressure. Noticing what you notice. Then bring your awareness now to your legs. Let them relax. Let the pelvis relax. Go slow so you let muscles turn on and you let muscles turn off, waking up your structural support muscles and your awareness of that in your body. Take your shoulders and your backs of your hands and press them towards the floor and the prop that you're on. Press down with your shoulder blades, down with your hands. Notice how that may take the tension out of the front of the body where the stretch is, where the armpits are, or the chest muscles. Then push the heart up towards the sky. See if you feel a deeper stretch in the front of your body, maybe in the core, or maybe right by the heart. Pushing back into the floor with the back of the hands and the shoulder blades. Eyes are closed. Feel that, and then slowly release. Let the stretch come back to the front of the body. Feel that, notice that. Bring your awareness to the head. Push your head strongly into whatever it's on. Notice what you feel in your body. Do you feel that all the way down to your lower spine, to your low back? Where do you feel that? And then go ahead and release. Bending your knees if your legs are straight. Bring your feet a little wider than your body. Let your knees fall in towards each other. Bring your awareness to your arms. Eyes are closed. Let's start to move the arms up towards the wall behind you And then bending the elbows, letting the elbows move down towards the waist. Palms are up towards the sky. Inhale, arms move up to go to the wall behind you. Exhale, elbows down towards the waist. You inhale to bring your arms up. You exhale, arms down to your waist. Shoulders moving independently, or the whole shoulder girdle moving here independently of the torso. Spine is stationary, moving the arms around and all the muscles that mobilize the arms. Then bring your arms back out to the side. Let your arms rest. Reach your arms a little wider away from you, straight arms if you can. See if you could feel a stretch in the arms. And then try to bring the arms overhead, maybe to the shape of the letter Y. So not all the way up by your ears. And then spread your hands really wide to create the deepest stretch in your upper torso, and maybe even feeling the belly stretch where the lower ribs are towards the hip joint. Take a couple of deep breaths to your chest, really expand your ribs, stretch your ribs. One more, fully fill up your rib cage. And then bend your arms, bring them back. We're going to roll onto our side. So bring your feet a little closer to your body, knees are bent. And then you're going to roll off your props onto the side. Then take your hand, you want to push away from the ground. So push really strongly with your hand and with your arm, bring yourself up. And then bring yourself into a position that's comfortable for you, sitting on your heels if that's comfortable. Let's continue with this movement. Inhale, and then exhale. Inhale, let your arms go high if your shoulders will let that happen. Now the shoulder blades are free to roam on the back. Let's turn this into big circles. Inhale up, exhale, inhale, exhale one more, and then bring yourself back. So that was a great warm up to get the upper body open, stretched, for you to raise your awareness of when you push into the ground, when we pushed our legs into the ground or the feet into the ground, push the back of the hands or the shoulder blades, and then push the head. You actually turn on the posterior chain in the body. When we press our legs into the ground, shoulder blades into the ground, head into the ground, that turns on the back of the body, which is very supportive when you're doing challenging postures, and especially when gravity is involved, really helping to keep the spine safe. So let's bring that piece of awareness with us today as we do some of the stronger postures in the practice or add a challenge to our practice. And then let's also bring that awareness piece of that back bend. This part of your spine, 12 vertebra, trying to keep the front of your spine open or in a back bend shape, because when we start to add rotational force to the spine, that is what we need. We need that back bend to be in the upper spine to stay safe, to keep ourselves nice and safe, and to get that real strong awareness in your mind and your body. So you do that actually throughout your day. So let's move on to the practice. Let's take the props off to the side and then get your blanket. Bring your blanket onto the mat and then come onto your knees. We're going to do a warm up that's going to lengthen the spine, that's going to bring blood flow to the upper body, and it's going to start to bring blood flow to the hip joint. The hip joint is where we need to learn to bend more from. This is where safe bending comes. So this movement here in the hip joint is really important for keeping yourself safe, making sure that you bend your hip and not your spine. So come onto your shins like this, bringing your awareness to where your legs attach to your body, bringing awareness to your spine is long, and then a slight back bend, so that rainbow shape in your spine, imagining you have something behind your heart, pressing your heart forward. And then with that, we're going to do a little practice forward folding here. A lot of glute work, so the glute muscles are involved in this. Keep your head up. Holding and managing your 10-pound head on top of your body is going to strengthen the upper body. Let's take the hands on the waist, elbows are back. So your hands are on the waist and you don't have your elbows out to the side. Really push your elbows back to make yourself more narrow. This is a good thing to do whenever you're bending outside or throughout your day and you need to keep yourself safe. Slide the shoulder blades towards the heart and then down towards your spine or down towards your pelvis. And that's how you keep yourself safe. Bending forward, tushy goes back. Feel the glutes when you do this. Then you're going to come forward and you're going to hold yourself. So get long in your spine, tushy goes back, bend your hip joint, feel your hip joint bend. Go to the place where you can manage this, where you could hold yourself here. Push your belly button towards your spine, tailbone down. Hover here, manage this. Push the elbows up, slide the shoulder blades back. Throat is open. Your head is nice and long. Don't let your head hang. Hug your lumbar spine with your belly. Feel the glutes, feel the core. Take one more breath. When you come up, lengthen and push your heart forward and bring yourself back up. Hopefully you notice that right here, the glute minimus, right where the leg attaches to the body. Those muscles are lengthening and contracting when we go into a forward fold. And then the core has to really activate to stabilize you from falling forward. And then managing that 10-pound head in that position is a challenge as well. So let's go now with the lengthening of the spine, still bending the hip, not quite as much weight to manage here. So not as much intense work for the core. This is more about lengthening your spine and finding that length in your spine and getting some length in the chest muscles and some of the tissues in the upper trunk. So you'll be nice and limber in the upper trunk. Keep your head up here. You're going to bend back, let your low belly come towards your top thighs, and then come forward. Head is lifted and active the whole time. Push your heart forward. Make sure the front of your spine does not collapse on itself. Your movement is isolated in the hip joint and the shoulder. The ball of the arm bone is rolling in your shoulder joint. Make sure that feels appropriate as well. Maybe dislodging and cleaning up a little stickiness for some of you with shoulder issues. Arms are pretty wide here, as wide as your mat. On the next one, I want you to come forward, walk your hands forward, and then bring your forehead onto the ground, flatten your hands, press your hands into the ground strongly. Elbows are straight. Let your forehead touch the ground. Try to push your chest towards the ground. Throat is open, chest is open. Take one more breath. Bring your head up first. Keep the front spine nice and long and bring yourself all the way up. Take your wrist, shake your wrists. So I'd like to do a little bit with plank. Plank can be a really powerful way to keep you strong for a long time. And this is something that is very easy to find throughout your day. Sometimes even before a shower, I'll tell myself, okay, let me do a plank before that. Or I'll take a break from working and go off to the side and do that. Or if I'm in the kitchen and I'm heating something up, I'll come down onto the floor and do a plank. Plank can be a really great way to keep us strong. I like to add a little bit of rotation with the plank. When you come into a rotation and you bring your arm up, the shoulder blade slides closer towards the spine. And when your shoulder blade is on the upper back, it helps to keep this back bend that's necessary for a healthy spine in your body. So we're going to lift our arms up and do a little rotation. Let's practice this here. Come here, take your hand on your belly, bring one arm up and bring your arm like this. That shoulder blade is sliding towards the spine. Feel that. And then see if you could rotate your trunk a little. And then if shoulders are not happy here, you could come here. You could be a little bit lower. Let's do the other side. Open your arm and just notice one side versus the other, what that's like for you. And then one more. And then bring yourself back out. So let's come onto the ground and let's do a plank. Take your hands forward, modify in whatever way you need for wrists. And also for the bottom. The bottom could be done like this as well. You could have your legs on the ground for those of you that need to modify that way. And then if not, you can come into the full variation. So have your hands underneath. Let's come up for those that are going to come up into the full plank. Take your feet wider than your body here. So have a really nice wide stance, but walk your hands a little closer. So your hands are underneath your shoulders. Push your feet back. And then you're going to exhale and then inhale. Lift one arm up and out to the side and put it back down. Go to the other side. Keep your front spine open. There's going to be rotation that goes all the way down to the hip. Contract your core. Protect your spine. One more each direction. You can even let your gaze follow your hand. Bring yourself down. Bring yourself out. Bring yourself up. Heartbeat accelerated. When your heartbeat accelerates, you're using a lot of muscles. And that's the body needing more oxygen. So when you do those stronger or more muscles at one time, that's when that heart rate accelerates. That's when you know that you're really doing a lot. So let your heart rate slow down. Deep breaths down to your belly. Take one more breath. So this next move that I'd like to do is a lunge. And lunge is going to pull on the hip joint a lot. It's going to be pulling on the hip joint, creating space, a lot of stress for the hip joint. And then if you're able to lift your leg off the floor, then you have more gravitational force in the hip joint. The important thing when you do this is that we make sure we maintain the back bend in the spine. So always thinking of that. Let's get a block for this. We'll use a block here, and this is also something you could do when you don't have a block. This is a really great, really good for hip joint health. And when I was going through my hip journey, there was a time that I could not lift my leg off the floor. So I know that this directly correlates to muscular strength for the hip joint. And the more muscular strength we have, the more stress we can create for the bones that helps them get stronger. So I know firsthand how valuable this can be. So let's come forward with a leg. Come forward with a leg. And the key is this. Have your knee come over your ankle joint when you bring yourself forward. So do not start too short in your stance. This right here, if the knee goes forward like that, it's bad for your kneecap or bad for your knee joint. And so you want to bring your foot forward. That's why you have a block here. Have the block forward and have your hand on your thigh. So you're going to bend the knee and the hip, that forward leg to come forward. So let's do a couple of enter this with an inhale, exhale to come out, inhale to come in, exhale to come out. Notice if you feel hamstring stretch on the front leg and if you feel the hip joint stretch on the back leg when you do this. This is stretching the muscles of the hip, muscles of the legs. And then bring yourself forward. Notice where your knee is in relationship to your ankle. You want that to be stacked and lined. You want this to be deeply bent and this to be deeply bent. You want to feel that low belly towards the top thigh. You're not hanging out up here with your tushy. You want your knee to be bent a lot so that you're forward. So for some of you, this may be good enough to be here, putting some weight on that back leg. And if you wanted to try to lift the leg off the floor, you could try to lift the leg off the floor, one hand on the block, one hand on the thigh. So that would be an entry place for some of you. Adding a little bit onto this, if you want to get some rotation in the upper trunk, lengthen your spine, push your heart forward, and start to turn your body over that front knee. That would be the next place to go. Always keeping the front of your spine long. Then if you still feel like you're pretty good here, you could come into knee, arm on the outside of the knee, hands are together. And with a tall spine, open front spine, really stretching that side that's back, the hip joint area. If you want to add strength there, you flip the toes under, you lift the knee up. A little bit easier, I think, than it really is. Looks easier than it may be. And then you push both feet into the floor like crazy to lengthen your spine. Keep your torso away from that front leg. Do not collapse. You're not leaning down here. You're lifting up and away. Push your hands into each other. That helps you get a little bit more rotational force. Push the feet into the floor like crazy, especially that front heel, really activating that front glute. So strengthening the back of the hip and the pelvis on that side, and then strengthening the front on the other side. One more breath. Gracefully put your leg back down. Keep yourself nice and lengthened in your spine. Bring yourself up. Bring yourself out. Bring yourself to rest between sides. You could close your eyes, connecting to your breath. Take a few deeper breaths to really bring in the oxygen necessary. And then open your eyes. So these postures that I'm sharing today, the intention is using weight bearing to deeply stretch, being very cognizant of the hip joint is where the bend occurs, and the knee in some cases, and that you do not bend your spine, and rather you lengthen and stretch the front of the spine. So that's how we stay safe. That's how we modify the practice for bone health, and bringing in that piece of awareness, really, really important. So let's go to the other side. You're going to come up, whether you use the block or not, you're going to bring the foot forward, making sure the foot is pretty far forward. You want it to be forward. The block is here for those that need it, and do a little bit of entering into this so you really bring that stretch into this back leg, lengthening your hip flexors. One of them is attached to your lumbar spine, so there is some pulling on the lumbar spine bones, the lower spine, where your DEXA scan was reading. And when we pull on bones, that's how we create bone building stimulation. Let's bring yourself forward. For some of you, this may be where you need to stay. You may want to challenge it by trying to lift the back leg off the floor if that's available to you, or not. And if you want to go a little deeper, you may come lengthening your spine, and then with a long spine, rotating it over in this direction. You'll probably feel that top part of your psoas, some of the core muscles stretch. Then if you want to go deeper, you take the elbow on the outside, hands are together, and you lengthen your spine, rotational force in the spine. Or you could push your foot into the floor, lift yourself up, and come into the lunge. Here, you really want to push your foot into the floor and your front heel into the floor. Long spine. Take one more breath. You're going to bring your knee down gently. Bring yourself out nicely. Bring yourself out into whatever is a nice resting position for you. Close your eyes. Breathe all the way down to your pelvis. And then open your eyes. So as you practice, when your heart rate accelerates, you know that you're asking for quite a bit. And then the way to determine what's appropriate is after you practice, noticing if there's a level of soreness in your muscles, that it's appropriate. 1 day of soreness, maybe 2, might be what happens if you're really going to your challenging zone. You don't want it to be sore for longer than that. So really the lunge can be really fantastic for hips, and it can also be a bit much for low back and for hips. So really paying attention to adding that weight bearing to that part of your body that it's appropriate for you. So let's go back to another posture. Let's take this off to the side. So I'd like to do another plank where we're actually in a real linear place and challenging the postural and structural aspects of your body, your body's ability to come to center. So really strengthening alignment, posture, balance, and then fall prevention. So modify according to what you need, knees on the ground or feet up. You do whatever's appropriate for you. You're going to come forward. Take the hands so that the pointer fingers are forward. The hands are underneath the shoulders. Bring one foot back and then the other. So your feet are hip distance, which means that they're about 4 inches apart. Then push your body weight back. So you feel your heels pushing back and you feel your calf stretch. Spread your fingers like crazy. Push your fingers into the ground. And then if you'd like to challenge, you can lift one leg up, take a couple of breaths here in a 3-legged plank, and then switch. Bring them down. Take one hand forward. Maybe you come onto fingertips, or maybe you lift the hand up. And then bring that hand down. We're going to switch. Take the other hand forward or up. Bring your hands down. Push away from the floor with your hands. Push away with your feet. Bring yourself down into a rest position. Close your eyes. Breathe down to your belly. Make sure you bring your heart rate down. Long spine, lifted heart. Then open your eyes. Let's release any tension that was created. So the exhale, you'll do the sound whoosh, like WHOOSH, right? Whoosh. An extended exhalation, releasing tension that may have come up for you now, or learning this so you can use it in your life. So let's gather on the inhale, hold, and then whoosh. 2 more. Inhale. Hold. One more. Hold. Close your eyes. See if you could tell that that has an effect on calming the heart. And open your eyes. So that actually is an extension of the exhale, pushing out more as we do the whoosh. And then when you push out more breath, there's more space for more breath. So if the heart is accelerating, asking and demanding more oxygen, that technique of whoosh or an extended exhalation is going to give you the ability to bring in more oxygen, which is what is being asked for. So this next one that I want to do is plank down dog, bending the hip joint, making sure to keep the front spine open, not letting your head flop, but holding your head on top of your spine with the upper back and neck muscles. Bending the hip a lot, maybe the knees if you need that. This is a nice flow to do. Coming up and holding this posture, most people don't have the flexibility to come into a true hip flexion safely in the full expression of this posture. And so this is for us to move into and out of it, always with awareness here and awareness on what's happening to your head. So moving, so we load up the lower body, load up the front, load up the lower, load up the top. So this is to displace or to place the body weight upper and lower body, using that hip joint as the fulcrum of where the body weight goes. So only do that if it's an appropriate thing for you. If it's not, you could come to a standing position from here and meet us in standing. So if you're going to do this with me, take your hands wide, take your knees wide, take your feet wide, flip your toes under. Make sure you're balancing your head on top of your body. You're actively holding up the head with the back of the body. Inhale, and as you exhale, push your belly closer to the top thighs, and then inhale forward. Let's exhale back. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Bring yourself down. Bring yourself up. Let your blood calibrate. Part of moving safely and preventing passing out and falling is to take the time for your blood vessels to calibrate from one position to the next. So sometimes some of these movements we do where we put our body in different positions, it can help to strengthen that aspect of us, which is really strengthening blood vessels and the apparatus that pumps them up. All right, you're going to bring a foot forward, flip your back toes under, push yourself away from the floor, push that front leg into the ground a lot, really feel that glute activate, and then bring yourself up. And then when we bend down to clear our space, it's with that hip joint. Clear your space. So let's find Tadasana Mountain, and let's find it and find the weight aspect of Tadasana. So the toes are forward, big toes are closer together than your heels. And then come into Tadasana where you push your hands down there beside your body, like right beside, not forward and not back, right beside you. And you're going to bring your awareness down to your feet. Now push the heels into the floor a lot. You'll feel some activation of the legs all the way up to the pelvis. And then make sure that the toes in the front of the feet are also touching the floor, but really push into the center of the heels. Push your hands down. Now lengthen your spine. So feel yourself pushing down and lifting up. So maybe you even feel a stretch in the belly area. Head, place it back on your spine. Chin is parallel. So make this active. Push your heart forward. Try to get a back bend in that upper spine. And then push your hands back. Push your heels into the floor. Push your hands back. Push your head back as if you were up against the wall or on the ground, activating the posterior chain to strengthen in this properly aligned position. Heels, hands, sacrum, shoulder blades, head. Push it all back. If you want a challenge, close your eyes or close one eye and then the other. Take one more breath. Open your eyes and then release that tension. Wiggle a little bit. So finding Tadasana throughout your day is another, even if it doesn't feel strong, and we're not using a lot of muscular strength, we're using a lot of body awareness and a lot of alignment principles and pushing the heels into the ground, pushing the sacrum back, pushing the shoulder blades back, the hands, if they're out to the side, center of the head, will activate that posterior chain and those structural and support muscles. Okay, so let's go into tree pose and let's challenge ourselves today with this, not just a regular tree, not any old tree, a challenging tree. So let's let the toes point forward. Come onto your weakest side. Take your hands down alongside your body. Bend the foot, the kneecap is forward, and then keep the whole body stationary. Only the leg moves, that hip moves in the hip joint. Then bring your foot up in between your ankle and your knee. The hands are out to the side. And then add a challenge from the beginning. Push down into the ground so you're not dumping into that waist or that hip. Really lift up. And then start to challenge yourself as if it was super windy outside and you were blowing in the air. Grab the floor with your foot. Imagine you're a bird on a perch or an eagle on a ball, and you're really grabbing onto that ball. You're not going to go anywhere, but challenge yourself. Body weight everywhere. Keep your heart lifted. Even if you do fall out of it, if you have to put your foot down, do something that challenges your ankle, challenges your foot. Challenging yourself in a controlled manner. And then bring yourself back to neutral. Find your stability. Find your balance. Bring your knee forward. Bring your knee out. Or your foot out. Foot is down. Take your hands to the side. Push your body weight to the other side. Bend the knee. Knee out to the side. Bring the foot onto the lower leg. Find your balance. And then add your challenge. When you start to add the challenge, bring your awareness down to your foot and grab the floor. Heel, pinky toe edge, toes. Even if you have to put your foot down, be okay with that. Go to the sides, go in front, go to the back. Let your ankle dance, let your foot constantly grab the floor. And then bring yourself back to center, find the balance. And then bring yourself out. Take your feet, shake your feet. That was 1 minute in each side, so you may feel even more ankle work, more foot work there when you're doing that, trying to manage your body. Let's stretch the top of the feet. Okay, so we're going to come into triangle posture, and triangle posture does a lot for the lower body. It pulls on the pelvis, it pushes the leg into the hip joint, so there's compressive force for the hip bone and the top of the femur bone. There's also pulling, tensile pressure as we enter that posture. There's pulling on the back of the leg muscle. And then when we bend at the hip joint, lengthening the spine, then we use rotational force to try to turn the heart forward. So there's a lot going on in triangle. Let's get a block for this, or a chair if you need a chair. A wall is a good thing to practice next to as well. And you don't always need to have a prop for this. That's why these are things that you could do throughout your day as a power pose. I like to just say that, power pose, bringing in a lot of strength. So this is definitely going to focus on bone strength. Let's take your feet really, really wide. The wider, the better. And then you're going to bring the foot to face away from you. You're going to bend that front knee. Keep your head lifted to bring the block on the floor if you're using a block. Bring yourself back up. Straight legs. Back heel moves away from you. Take your shoulders forward, up, back, and down. Slide the shoulder blades towards each other and then down towards your pelvis. Then you're going to inhale with resistance. From here, start bending the front hip. So start to let really right there where the leg attaches, not higher than that. And then reach, reach, reach. Feel that front leg starting to stretch. When you can't go anymore, that's when you come down onto a chair or a block. And if you do not have a block, then you could come on to you bring your back of your hand onto the leg to create the forces necessary. So either a block or onto your leg. If you have a block, push away from the block. Lengthen your spine. Try to move the knees apart from each other. So the back leg, the knee is moving back. Really lift that heart up. Or open the heart, add that back bend to the upper spine. Push your feet into the ground, grab the floor with the feet, and then draw that energy to the pelvis. Lengthen your spine, rotate. Really bring your heart forward. Deep breaths. Stay with the breath. Give it your all when you're in each posture. Really be in it. If your head gets sore, you could turn your gaze down towards the ground. Otherwise, head looking up is going to add some strength to the neck. One more breath. Push your feet into the floor. Lengthen your spine. Bring yourself up. Bring yourself out. Come to Tadasana Mountain. So part of what makes power postures powerful is the length of time you challenge yourself in them. So that was triangle for a minute. And notice how you feel. Let's come to the other side. If you're using your block, bend your hips, slightly bend your knees, bring yourself down to grab your block, over to the other side. And then from center, taking that wide stance, bring your toes away from you and the back heel away. When you're down, you're trying to move your legs apart from each other. So there's a down and an outward movement of the legs, getting even more forces happening here in the hips. Shoulders are forward, up, back, and they're down. Slide the shoulder blades towards each other, down towards the pelvis. Exhale, and then inhale to lift the arms. From here, reach long, and then start to bend the hip, bringing yourself down onto whatever you have. And then start to really find that deep work in this posture. Push your feet into the ground. Move your knees apart, especially that back knee. Draw that tension up to the pelvis, and then see if you get longer in your spine. Bring your awareness to your heart as you start to turn your heart up towards the sky, and the ribs on the downside, the ribs on the side of the front leg, try to roll them up towards the sky. We could do anything for a minute. We can hold something for a whole minute. Give your neck the release or relief if it needs it. Take one more breath. Pushing your feet into the ground, bringing yourself up and out. Finding your mountain. If closing your eyes is appropriate, you could close your eyes. Then open your eyes. So let's do chair posture as a power pose, holding this for at least a minute. If you have a block, you could put the block either between your legs and use that for turning on, supporting stabilization, or put it through your hands and use that there. So I think I'll use it on my hands. You choose what you'd like to do. You could bring your legs together so the big toes touch, the rest of the legs touch. The hands go out in front of you. You're going to take an inhale and an exhale. And then let's inhale into this by bending the hip, sitting back with your tushy, reaching up with your arms, really bending and loading your hip joint here. Belly button towards your spine. Lift your toes off the floor so that your heels are really pressing in like crazy, and then push your heels in like crazy. See if you can bend the hip a little bit more. Bring your awareness to your upper body. Lift your arms up more. Squeeze your block if you're holding one. Feel like you're pressing your hands towards each other and there's a resistance. Deep breaths. Take one more breath. And then you're going to bring yourself up. Take your block off to the side. Come back to center. Center with your awareness, center with your body. Into a mountain, eyes closed if that's appropriate for you. Take one more breath. Down to your feet. Then blink your eyes open. So let's do a side angle. Now, side angle, we're going to actually bend the front leg. And normally, the femur bone has to manage your body weight in this position, right? The femur bone is directly underneath the pelvis. So it usually has to manage in that hip joint, the joint coordination is managing your body weight it's straight up and down. When we come into the side angle and we bring the femur bone off to the side like this is a tremendous amount of pressure on the femur bone to manage the weight above when it's this far away from your body. So this can be a really great posture for strengthening the hips, strengthening the pelvis, strengthening the femur bone, and strengthening the muscles that are going to keep your bones stronger, the quadricep muscles and the glutes and all the leg muscles. So that's one aspect. And then we do add a little rotation here so we get some spinal stimulation as well. So let's take the block and bring the block to whatever side you're going to go to first. Take your legs wide. have whatever you need to help you here. Pick the toes up, move the toes away from you and the back heel away. Then you're going to put a slight bend in your knees. The knees are going to be always working towards moving away from each other. So trying to work on external rotation, rolling the knees out. That's the force you want to apply. You're going to push into that back edge strongly so you feel activation over that ankle. Feel the arch active when you do this. Shoulders are forward, up, back, and down. Take your hands down alongside your body. Exhale. And as you push away from that back foot, bend that front knee. Let your body go straight down, not forward. Let it go straight down. Load into that hip. Come into this posture. Then you reach long and you bring your hand on top of your thigh or on the block if you would like. So you choose what's appropriate for you. Deeply bend in that front hip. Push your foot into the floor. Push the back leg active, the pinky toe edge. And then front arm is pressing into that leg, or it could be on the leg. So it could be on the leg or into the leg. You decide. Lots of stretching, lots of compressive force here in that front hip. And then turn your heart forward to create stimulation in your spine. Use your breath to help you. And take one more breath. To come back up, you bring yourself up and then all the way out. Let's pause between sides. Give your body and your breath a chance to find balance. Let's go to the other side. Bringing your block over to the other side. Legs are wide. Let's take toes away from you, back heel away from you. Shoulders are forward, up, back, and down. Awareness on that back edge, pinky toe edge. Bend the front knee. Exhale. And then inhale, push away from the back leg. Let your body go straight down. Notice if your body's moving down or forward, and let it go down, not forward. Now you can let it go forward and bring your hand onto that front thigh or onto the block. Once you get there, you can even maybe go a little deeper and load more in that front hip. Push into the back pinky toe edge of that foot. Try to move that back knee open. And then push into the floor with the front heel. When you push into the front heel, see if you can move away from that top thigh and lengthen your spine. Deeper maybe. And connect to your breath. Last breath. Bring yourself back up. Bring yourself out. One more power move, standing. Let's clear the space. So this power move is called Goddess, and you're loading your knees and loading your hips in a squatted position with your legs pretty wide. So you're going to take your legs wide, let your toes go out to the side so that the knees can keep feeling like they're going out to the side. Really wide stance here. Then you're going to bring your hands onto your waist, elbows back, heart is lifted, maintaining that back bend in the upper spine. Then we're going to enter this posture by bending the knees, loading into the knees, loading into the pelvis. Go as low as you can. You could use your hands here to help lift your heart if you need that, or you could bring your arms up here into goalpost arms, scarecrow arms. Push your hands back, push your heels into the ground, goddess. Deep breaths. Really push your heels into the ground. Long spine. Last breath. And then go ahead and bring yourself up. Shake your legs. Find your mountain. So let's let go of tension. 3 releases. Extended exhale as you make the sound whoosh. The SH sound at the end actually has a downward movement and helps to balance and to ground the energy inside the body. It's an extended exhale, more space for inhale at the end of that. So we're going to do 3 of these. Exhale, inhale, gather, hold, and exhale. Inhale, hold, let go of all the tension. Inhale, hold, come into mountain. Close your eyes if that's available to you. Bring your hands together at your heart. Press your heart to your thumbs and your thumbs to your heart. That'll give a break to holding the head up on top of your body, activating those spinal muscles. Feel your heartbeat. Feel your body. And then open your eyes. Let's go down on the floor and do the last power posture of the day. So this next power posture is probably one of the most important, actually. Make sure when you come down, it's with awareness that you're loading into your hips and or your knees after the hips. This is the most important posture for bone health because it's what helps to manage the biochemistry. It's what helps to clean the slate and to get everything inside. Give the opportunity to find balance and homeostasis to your body. So this is Shavasana. Final rest. Coming into this, before you doing any last minute thing your body needs. If you feel you need a little bit more grounding, a little more settling of your joints, you could come up and shake your body. Let your shoulders find balance. Let your legs, your knees, your hips, or knees could be in the chest, whatever your body feels that it needs. From here, coming into Shavasana, fully stretched body. Relaxing. Let go, let go. Bring your awareness to your breath. Deepen your breath. Bring movement into your fingers, your toes, your hands, your feet. And then bending your knees. Draw your knees into your chest, side to side, and all the way onto your side. Pushing yourself up and away. And come all the way up. We're going to close the practice, letting everything settle. Bring your hands together, rub your hands together. Press your heart to your hands to your heart. Nice long spine here. Using sound to vibrate, to clear, to balance, to ground your energy. Exhale to create a lot of space for your inhale. Inhale. Gratitude. Thank you. So notice when you do challenging work, notice things like the acceleration of the heart rate. Notice if there is sweat. Notice if there is shaking. Notice after the practice if it feels okay. Some soreness is okay for a day or two, but if it's longer than that, then you're going too hard. You can practice every day, a few times a day with power poses to keep your body strong. Don't overdo it. Find the appropriate place. Find Goldilocks so that you can safely and strongly build stronger muscles and stronger bones. All right, I saw that somebody said something. I am definitely going to be feeling this. That was a challenge. We were in each one for at least a minute. I was sweating and it's going to be something. Let me see. Good. Well, you said that you liked strong, Donna. So there you go. Oh yeah, Cindy, you're here. I didn't know you were here, and you like strong too, right? Oh no, I did know you were here. You like strong also. Oh, and Stevie also. Susan, good. Yeah. Yeah, isn't that interesting? We don't have to do that crazy fast vinyasa flow practice, which is really not safe for aging bodies. Forget osteoporosis. It's not safe if you're aging to do that with your joints, but it's also not safe if you have osteoporosis. Yet we can do strong, heartbeat accelerating, sweat producing practice without doing a lot of crazy movement. All right. Well, I hope you all feel okay. Lots of sound effects. Yeah, Sharon's saying the sound effects because if we were in class together, I probably would have heard, whew, oh, wow. Or if we come out of it, be like, whew, thank goodness we're out of that. And I'm sure we all had some level of that. So anyway, all right, ladies, I hope you feel good. Drink a lot of water. You probably stirred up the pot. Your biochemistry is probably going crazy inside. So hydrate, lubricate your body, and help with detoxification. Yeah. All right. All right. Bye, everyone.